When you're shopping for an oscillating multi-tool, keep in mind that the blade change system can have an effect on your workflow, especially if you change accessories frequently. But is there really that big of a difference from one to the other? Well, I've got a whole lot of oscillating multi-tools in front of me, so let's take a look at what's out there. Thanks for clicking on our video. We hope you find it helpful. While you're here, consider helping us out by hitting the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you like what you see. When you finish watching this one, check out our video on changing circular saw blades. The most basic systems use a threaded bolt and require a hex wrench like this one in order to loosen or tighten it. And it's a slower system, and you got to keep track of where that hex wrench is, and it's really kind of going out of favor for tool-free options like these. Even good budget brands have a tool-free option a lot of times. So on the high end, you've got Starlock, and this is a lever-based system that's also completely hands-free if you want it to be on the blade. There are clamping style systems like this one from Craftsman. And then the most common is some form of a lever and bolt system where you've got a lever on the top and a bolt down here. And it's a second action that gets this blade off, and it's there where we see a lot of variety in all these different tools. So let's start looking one by one at the differences in these blade change systems to see what kind of system you might like. Let's take this cordless Makita for example. It's got one of the simplest blade change systems for the lever and bolt style. Just pull back the lever here, and it releases the bolt in one step. It's faster than most of them, and it's actually important when you've got an accessory like this that doesn't have a cutout in the back because you've got to release that bolt all the way. So now we can put that back on there, line up the holes, and we're back in business. This is Skil's PowerCore 20 brushless oscillating multi-tool. Now the release on top pivots to the side, and it actually pushes the bolt down far enough that if your accessory has a rear cutout like this one, it can slip right off and you don't have to take the bolt out at all. Now if you're putting on something like our Milwaukee sanding pad and you do need to release it, this style pushes in and then twists, and that releases your bolt. Kobalt's 24 volt max brushless and Masterforce's boost brushless use the same exact mechanism as Skil. Switching over to Milwaukee, their lever is on the top and pushes forward, but then their bolt is threaded. Now you don't have to take this all the way off in order to get your blade off if it's got that rear cutout. But if you're using that fully enclosed accessory, you will have to take this all the way out, and that does take a little bit more time than some of the other ones. Metabo HPT introduces yet another twist. Once we've got our lever released, we can not quite get our blade off, and then we have a collet up here that we need to push down and then twist over to release our bolt. This is Ryobi's 1+ HP brushless model, and it introduces a tool-free option for us. Now this is going to have a slide and pivot action in order to get your blade off. It's pretty easy, but when you do have that fully enclosed accessory, it can be a little bit challenging to get your fingers in there and turn this back around. Ridgid's 18 volt octane is kind of in the same vein as Ryobi, but they have a very interesting lever system that you pull out from the tool and then push up. And then notice how far out this pushes. So if you've got a rear cutout accessory, it makes it really, really easy to get that in and out. Now the big difference here is that this action just pivots from the center either direction, so it's a little bit easier to use in the Ryobi one when you've got that fully enclosed accessory. Each of these designs have their own pros and cons. In general, they're all great at securing the blade, though they vary in how much time it takes. Craftsman's V20 cordless oscillating multi-tool and DeWalt's multi-tools have a clamping style system. This is actually really easy to get your blade on and off, but the spring is so tight on here that even if you don't have your holes lined up, it can kind of feel like the accessory is on there. So this is one that you want to check visually and make sure your holes are lined up before pulling the trigger. There's one other thing worth mentioning here too, and that's with your sanding accessories. Because this isn't a bolt that comes all the way out, you can't use a fully enclosed sanding pad like this one. You'll need one that's got an elevated interface that can slide over the top of it. Now Fein Supercut cordless has the Starlock system, and we said earlier this is kind of a hands-free system, so all you got to do with this is push the lever forward and that releases your blade. To put it back on, you're going to push the interface in, and notice how that flipped up. I'm locked back in, and this is good to go. Now one of the big differences for Starlock is that this is a completely different interface than what we've used before. This Milwaukee over here, this is a universal fit, and look at the difference compared to Starlock. This universal fit will not fit on a Starlock, so even with your sanding accessories, This standard fully enclosed style isn't going to work. You need that Starlock interface in order to make it go on there properly. This is Bosch's 18-volt brushless model, and it's similar to the Fein in that it has Starlock. The big difference here is it just pivots from the side instead of coming over the top, but it uses the accessories in the same way. Well, after checking out all these different blade change systems, which one do you think is the best? Let us know in the comments below or leave any questions you have for us, and as always, thanks for watching. Help us out by subscribing to our channel below. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on our latest videos.